So go ahead and lay on your backs and draw your knees in towards your chest and let your knees separate hip distance. So you're nice and loose in this loose little ball. Take a deep breath through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And just feel your thigh bones kind of sinking into your hip joints, waking up your lower body, and start rocking side to side. As you rock, stay really loose so that your thigh bones can move around in your hip joints, kind of giving them a little massage, waking them up. And then clasp your hands together, place them around your right knee, straighten your left leg. Let your right knee open out into kind of your natural hip turnout. So dropping towards the outer edge of the mat. Flex the left foot and draw the right knee up towards your right shoulder. And then spin your right ankle. So get those morning crackles out of your ankle joints. Flexing the left foot, you'll feel that length in the left hip flexor down into your quadricep. And then bring the right knee across the body, gentle spinal twist. You can extend the right arm out. Let the right knee be heavy. And that's what does the work of the pose. So you're not really pushing into that left hand. Just trying to relax and sink and use the breath. As you exhale, you get a little deeper into a twist. And then take your foot to your left knee and cross it over your leg just under your knee, so at the top of your shin. And let the right knee kind of hang heavy. You can take your hands on your hips if you want and just kind of massage down, especially in that right thigh. Just working on opening up the hips. And then put your hands on the mat and bend your left knee and cross your left ankle over your left thigh. So now you're just above the knee. And again, you can use that right hand to kind of massage the right thigh, gently encouraging the right hip to open. And then now we're going to reach behind our left thigh and come into a figure four. So if you can, lift your left foot off the ground. You can use your right elbow on your right thigh if that feels good to you. And just hold for a few breaths here. Again, really working on that right hip joint. And then see if you can rock a little side to side, just making it a little more dynamic. And then go ahead and place the left foot flat on the mat, hands under your hips, and press your right foot up towards the ceiling and spin your ankle. And then grab behind your thigh. You can leave your left leg bent, or you can press through the sole of the foot. If that feels like too much on your hamstring, just go ahead and bend the knee. But if that feels like a good stretch, go ahead and do that. You can also walk your hands up higher on your calf if that feels good. Just keep turning the ankle. And then go ahead and release the leg and use your core strength. So draw your navel into your spine and lower your leg slowly. Same thing, left side. Clasp the hands together around the left knee into your natural hip turnout. Pull it up towards your left shoulder. Flex the right foot. So you're activating that hip flexor into the quad. Spin the left ankle. And then take the left knee across the body. Extend the left arm out. Let the left knee hang heavy. So it's a really gentle stretch, just using your body weight and your breath. And then bring the left knee or the left foot to the right knee. Cross the leg just under the knee and let that left knee hang heavy. Again, you can use your hands to kind of massage the hip, the thigh, encouraging it to open, lengthen. And then hands on the mat, bend the knee, slide the heel or the ankle up just above the knee now. Again, you can use the hand, give a little massage. And then we're going to lift the foot off the mat, grab behind the thigh. You can use your elbow to your thigh if that feels good to you. And just breathe into the hip. And then rock side to side a little bit. Just kind of using your breath, noticing what feels good to you this morning, what sensation you have, but using the breath to kind of measure how deep the stretch should be this morning. And then drop the foot down, press the sole of the foot up towards the ceiling, and spin your ankle. And you can slide your right foot out if that feels good, and place your hands behind your thigh. Keep spinning that ankle. You can walk your hands up higher on your calf if that feels good. And then hands on the mat, we're going to bring the right leg up to join the left. So use your core strength, lifting it up, flexing the feet up towards the ceiling. You can bend your knees just a little bit. And then we're going to point the toes and draw the knees into the chest. So you're rounding through the lower back. So you're opening up your lower back a little bit. And then again, press towards the ceiling, hands to the mat. And then point the toes, draw the knees into the chest, rounding the lower back. And one more time, press towards the ceiling. And then point the toes. So now we're going to do the same motion and work into a little rock and roll thing, massaging the length of the spine. So pressing the feet up. Just trying to generate a little heat along the spine. And then rolling up into a cross-legged position. I'm going to go ahead and face you guys. And extend your arms up and feel your sits bones on the ground. So maybe wiggle a little bit, find your sits bones. And then place your right hand behind your back, your left hand on your right knee. Sit up tall on the sits bones and turn your gaze over your right shoulder. Draw your navel in, long breath through the nose. And then hold on with the left hand and drop your left shoulder towards your left knee and sweep your right arm up and over. So stay grounded through the right sits bone so you get that full length along the right side of your body. And then place your right hand on your left knee, cross your elbows so you're square over your sits bones and your elbows, and drop your chin to the cross and the elbows. And then inhale the back of the heart up, hollowing the belly and stretching through the shoulder blades. And then sit on up and bring your left hand behind your back, high red. Sit up tall on the sits bones and look over your left shoulder. And then hold on with the right hand on the left knee, drop the right knee towards the right shoulder towards the right knee, sweep the left arm up and over. Again, stay grounded through your left sits bones. You can really reach from there and get long through the left side of your body. And then left hand to the right knee again, cross the elbows, square off over your sits bones, drop the chin, inhale the back of the heart up through the shoulder blades. And then go ahead and release and find your way to your hands and knees. Plant your palms underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. Drop the tailbone, lift the navel into the spine, hollow out the belly, drop the crown of the head to point between the palms into your cat. It's really opening up the upper back. And then on your next exhale, we're going to reverse that and go into cow. So drop your chest down, curl your tailbone up, get long through the belly, and lift the heart. Take a breath. And then your next exhale, reverse it back to cat. Drop the tailbone, lift the back of the heart up, hollow the belly. And then one more time, reverse into cow. Drop the chest, curl the tailbone up, lengthen through the belly. And then come into your tabletop. So tabletop, you want to have a nice straight spine, navel's lifting into the spine, ribs together and down, supporting your core strength. We're going to lift that right heel up to hip height. And then find your balance in your hands and see if you can weight the right hand and lift the left arm to the left ear. So finding your balance, taking a couple of breaths here. And then point the toes and see if you can lift the fingers and toes a little bit. So activate the back of the body. And then we're going to touch the elbow to the knee, hollowing the belly, and go back out to your tabletop. Drop your fingers and toes a few inches below the midline and sweep the left arm to the left and the right leg to the right without moving your spine. Upper body stays exactly as it is, engaging through your core. And come on back to center. One more time, we're going to point the toes, lift the fingers and the toes, activate the back side of the body. And then come on back to your tabletop, drop everything a few inches, and bring the left arm to the left, the right arm to, or the right leg to the right. And then come on back to center. Go ahead and put your left hand on the mat, drop your right foot on the mat, and place the ball of the foot on the mat and press back so you can get a little calf stretch through the right leg. So just take a couple breaths here. Notice what you feel. Check in with your calf muscle. And then we're going to bring the right or the left heel a little closer to the back right corner of your mat and slide on back into pigeon pose. And everybody has sort of a different ability with this one, depending on your knees and your hips. So find what works for you. You can always just keep your foot underneath your pelvis if that's better. I like to try to aim my right hip bone towards my left heel and then come to your forearms and just rock a little bit side to side. Then we're going to come on back to our hands and knees, and we'll do that same little sequence on the other side. So start with that nice, strong, supported table position with a straight spine, engaged core. And then we're going to lift the left heel up to hip height, the right arm to the right ear, really engage through your core. And then point the toes, lift the fingers and the toes, activate the back side of the body. And then hollow the belly. Tap the elbow to the knee. And then come on back out. Now you're going to drop a few inches below midline. You're going to bring that left leg to the left, the right arm to the right. Stay strong through your core and come on back to center. One more time, point the toes with the fingers and the toes, activate the back of the body. Hollow the belly, touch the elbow to the knee. Come on back out to center, drop below midline. Swing out to the side, strong through the core, stay stable. And back to center. Place a hand under the shoulder, drop the left foot to the ball of the foot, press back into your calf stretch. And then take your toes towards the left back corner of your mat and slide on back to your pigeon pose. Come to your forearms and rock around a little bit. Just kind of find your edges in your hip and your body. See if you can rock through them, softening them a little bit. And then come on back up to your hands and knees. We're going to turn our fingertips to face our knees, and you can decide how close you want your fingertips to be. I'm going to turn to face you to your body. I like to have a little bit of distance, but you could also even just have your wrists even with your knees. The idea is to get the circulation going in your hands and arms kind of before all the computer work sets in. You should do this throughout your day if you can, just to get the circulation going. So kind of rocking figure eights, stretching the wrist all the way around, front and back. And then we're going to flip the hands. And again, you can adjust. I need to have my hands a little closer to my knees for this one. This is a pretty intense stretch on the top of the wrist, top of the hand. But again, figure eights, finding some movement. And then go ahead and sit up on your heels, clasp your hands and roll your wrists. So just like we did with our ankles, trying to get the crackles out of the wrist joints. Switch direction. And then make a stop sign hand. Draw your fingertips back towards your face, keeping your wrist still. Getting long through the wrist. And then switch, fingertips back towards your face. And then we're going to move into the feet. So turn your toes under, so you're on the balls of your feet. Try to touch the big toes together, the heels together, and see if you can sit on them. And you may want to stay with your hands on the mat. You'll decide sort of how your feet feel, how flexible your feet are, or you can sit up on top of your feet. If this feels pretty good, you can also clasp the hands and reach as skyward. So really weighting through the balls of the feet. Whichever one you're doing, if your hands are on the mat or if you're up in the sky, just rock side to side. See if you can push through all 10 toes as you go. So really waking up each toe, creating a little more flexibility and support actually through your feet. We rely on our feet for balance, for stability. And a lot of times they're trapped in shoes. So exercising them is a great idea. And then hands to the mat, we're going to roll through the length of the foot. So we'll start by coming to the ball of the feet, roll back towards the heels, maybe even lift your toes, lift your hands, find some balance, and then roll forward. If that doesn't work for you, though, don't worry about it. Just can kind of play with it. So really waking up your feet, moving up into the Achilles now, into your calf a bit, your ankles. The next time you have your hands on the mat, separate your knees the distance of your mat, touch your big toes, sit over your heels, and walk your hands out for Balasana. So hands up towards the mat. Unless that feels funny on your shoulders, then you can bring your hands back. And just sink into your hips. Maybe rock a little bit side to side to sort of see what you're feeling, what's going on. And take your hands and walk to the left side of the mat and sink into that right sits bone a little bit more. And breathe into the right side of the body. And then rock your hands to the right side. Sink into that left sits bone as you reach forward, moving into the left side of the body. Then come back to center and keep our toes glued together. Bring our hips towards the front of the mat and see if you can lift your toes up towards the ceiling. Kind of keep them up towards your glutes. You're engaged through your core here, but you're slowly going to start releasing, drawing your hips forward towards your wrists and have the sensation you're drawing your wrists back towards your hips. So getting long through the belly. And then we're going to release the feet and straighten out the knees and hips so they're hip distance apart. Walk your fingers to the top of the mat and settle back into puppy. So puppy, you're keeping your sits bones up, reaching forward. This is more of a front body stretch. And then from here, we're just going to creep forward into Sphinx Pose. So you're on your forearms. And you want the sensation that you're drawing your elbows back towards your hips and your hips towards your elbows. You should feel some really nice, safe length happening through the belly. So your lower back should be pretty relaxed. Your glutes are relaxed. And you're just drawing your hips towards your elbows. And then keep your arms where they are. Engage your core. So you're drawing your core back. Turn your toes under and press up into a forearm plank. Just take a couple breaths here, feeling the strength of your core. And then we're going to press up into a regular plank. Again, sort of drop your tailbone down, engage your glutes, feel how strong you are in your core. And then we're going to do a side plank. So take your left foot and bring it behind your right foot. Weight the right hand and reach up with the left arm. See if you can hollow out the right side of your body. Lift the left heel, the left rib, or the left hip, left rib cage up. And then bring your left arm under you and see if you can tap the side of your mat and bring it back up. Let's do that one more time. Bring it under you, tap the side of your mat and bring it back up. Now start bending your knees. Stay on that right hand, bend your knees and see if you can find your right hip to your mat. Take your left hand and hold on to your left shin and bring the right arm up and over. And then circle around, right hand to the left knee, left hand to the left ankle. Hollow the belly. See if you can create this open space in your belly and drop your chin towards your chest. Okay, we're going to reverse that. So come on back to your side plank. Creep your hands out towards the top of the mat. Press into the sides of the feet. Reach up. Come back through your plank. And we'll do the same thing on the left side. I'm going to switch so I can see you guys. at least face you, you can see me. So you're gonna have your right arm up, right hip bone is reaching up, engaged to the left side of the body. And then take the right hand and see if you can reach under your body, tap the left side of your mat and bring it back up. And again, reach under the body, tap the side of the mat, back up. Now you're gonna start bending your knees, reach your left hip bone towards the mat, take your right hand to your right shin and just find your way back into an upright position. Circle the left arm up and over. It's getting long through the left side of the body. And bring the left hand to the right knee, right hand to the right ankle. Hollow the belly, chin towards the chest. And reverse that. Come on back to the side plank. Press through the feet, reach the right arm up and over. Come into your regular plank and then press back to downward dog. Let's walk in place. Let me take off my sweatshirt. So you're treading through the foot, ball of the foot to the heel. Really waking up the back of the leg, the feet, and then start flipping the foot over and press through the toes so you're getting a nice stretch to the top of the foot. And just go at your own pace. And then come into your downward dog. So your feet are hip distance, your hands are shoulder distance. Lift the right leg up. Get a big stretch, pointing the toes up, and then see if you can drop your left heel a little lower. And then we're gonna draw the right foot up between our feet or between our hands and drop your left knee down. You can stay on your palms or you can come to your fingertips or you can even put your hands on your knee if that feels more comfortable. And then see if you can just sink into your hips. So really allow them to melt. Your right hip joint is kind of melting. Your left hip flexor is getting long. Just breathe for a few breaths here, waking up the hips. And then keep the right foot flat on the mat. We're gonna send our sits bones to the back of the mat and move our right leg towards straight, keeping the right knee soft. Forward fold. Breathing into the length in the hamstring and the calf. Wherever you're feeling resistance, send the breath to those places. It helps create length and softness. Then come on back into that forward lunge. We're gonna lift the left knee up, step back to your plank, back to your downward dog, and extend the left leg up. Pointing the toes towards the ceiling, see if you can drop your right heel a little bit. And then step forward with the left foot between the hands, drop the right knee, come to your fingertips, lift the chest, sink into your hips. So again, we're thinking about that left hip joint, that right hip flexor, using the breath, and just allowing a little space and time to melt into your hips. And hands on the mat, whole foot on the mat, keep the foot on the mat and send your sits bones back as you fold forward. Keep the left knee soft. You don't want to lock it out. Still get a great stretch to your hamstring and calf. And come on back into that high lunge. We're going to step back to plank, back to downward dog, and just walk your feet in place again. And then we're going to just slowly walk up towards our hands. Separate your feet hip distance. Bend your knees deeply so that your ribs reach your thighs. Grab onto your elbows. Let the arms hang heavy, the head hang heavy. Breathe into the spine. Release the arms, bend the knees even more deeply. Let the arms and head hang heavy. We're going to roll all the way up to standing, one vertebrae at a time. And roll your shoulders up towards your ears. Press them back, push them down. One more time, up towards the ears, back and down. Okay, we're going to do a little neck stretch. So step with your feet hip distance apart. See, my head is kind of cut off. And clasp your hands behind your back. Get a little chest stretch, shoulder stretch, like this. See if you can press your fist towards the mat, like this. But try not to arch your back. Try to keep your hips, your glutes engaged, hips engaged, and just reach your fists down, opening the chest. Breathe into the front body. And then take your clasped hands to the right side of your waist. So you want to have your hands in that soft spot between your hip bone and your lowest rib. And hold on kind of tight there and immobilize the shoulder. That's the idea here. So keep that shoulder still. And we're going to drop our right ear towards our right shoulder. And this is something that you can do, excuse me, throughout your day as well. You can even do it in a chair, but it's a great neck stretch. It's a really safe neck stretch because you're keeping your shoulders still, your spine straight. And then drop your chin towards your chest. And then take your left ear towards your left shoulder. And come on up. We're going to take the clasped hands, switch your clasp around so the other thumb is on top behind your back. Start with the open chest stretch first, reaching your fist towards the floor behind you. And then take your hands to the left side of your waist. Find that space between your lowest rib and your hip. And then we're going to drop our right ear towards our right shoulder. And then drop it, chin towards the chest. And then left ear, left shoulder. And come up, release. Shake out your hands. We're going to do a little tree pose. And the reason we want to do a tree pose, and it's something you should think about, is that you've got proprioceptors in your feet that connect with your brain and that help you with balance, help you with sort of your spatial awareness, your movement. And they're really stabilizing. And as we get older and we wear shoes a lot, we kind of create this disconnect between our brain and our feet. So doing tree pose, doing balancing poses, wearing, taking shoes off and really using all of your toes is a great way to counteract that. So lift and spread the toes, find a stable base in your feet. And then when you're ready, take your right leg up and you can hold on to a wall or a piece of furniture if that feels more comfortable. Right foot is either going to go to your inner thigh or to your calf. And you decide which one feels like the right choice for you this morning. If you're holding on to something, just keep holding on to something. You could place one of your hands on your heart. If you're not holding on to anything, you can place both hands at your heart. And just kind of notice, allow your toes to sort of separate from each other. Allow the foot to really do the work of finding balance for you. Relax your face. You can set your gaze on a fixed point. And just feel your breath running up and down your spine. And then go ahead and release. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So lift and spread your toes, kind of stretch them out and shake out your hands a little bit. And then if you're holding on to something, hold on with the other hand. When you're ready, place that left foot up, either inside your thigh or inside your calf. Avoid your knee. And you can do one hand on your heart if you're holding on to something, or both hands at your heart. And just let your toes do their work. Let your feet spread out and support you. And go ahead and release. So come to the top of your mat if you're on a mat. If you're on the floor, that's totally fine. We're going to inhale the arms up and touch the palms, look to the thumbs. Draw the hands to the heart. We're going to forward fold, hands to the thighs. You can soften your knees here if that feels good to you and drop the crown of the head to point towards your feet. Then press into the thighs, get long through the spine, look forward, and then crouch down, step back into a plank. Drop your knees and then draw your elbows towards your ribs and slowly with strength, lower your chest to the mat. And we're going to bring our hands back by our hips, point our toes, lift up, activate the back side of the body, and hold here for a breath. Imagine your little boat on the water. Your breath is having you rock back and forth. And then put your hands underneath your shoulders, back into your push-up position, into your downward dog position. Just take 2 breaths here in downward dog. And then we're just going to walk forward and find our way into a seated position. Hands together at your heart, closing down your eyes. Just linking with your breath, a little gratitude this morning. So just pick one thing from your life you feel grateful for, link it with your breath. And you can remember that you have your breath with you all the time. And today, your breath is linked with your gratitude. Go ahead and open your eyes. Namaste. Have a great day. Thanks for coming, guys.